Good afternoon, doctors Areekul.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, great.
Okay, good afternoon. How are you, doctor?
I'm fine. I'm excited.
Okay, thank you very much for the excitement. Okay, welcome to all of the participants. Before starting the sessions, I would like to invite you guys to change your virtual background and rename your ID with name underscores institutions. Good afternoon to all of the participants who have come to this amazing occasion. Welcome to our webinars as the follow-up sessions of Public Health Airlangga University Summer Schools. And today we will learn about physical activity and health promotions in ASEAN's country with Dr. Areekul. So let me read a brief review related to physical activity, which defined by WHO as a body movement produced by skeletal muscles that requires energy. This activity can promote blood and oxygen's flow, burns energy, and help enhance mental well-being. These factors are essential to keep our body away from the risk of non-communicable disease or NCDs. Then we will ask to Dr. Areekul what is the difference between the physical activity and the exercise, and maybe we will find out after the sessions. So probably because Mr. Trias cannot attend today's session, I would like to invite all of our participants to fill the attendance link in the chat box. And before jumping into our main sessions, I really want our participants to pray first and get ready before the sessions. So thank you for all the participants for filling the attendance link. And I really hope that you guys will accompany us until the end of the sessions. So without any further ado, I would introduce our speakers, Dr. Areekul, as our speaker today. And let me introduce her by reading a brief CV from our amazing speaker. So Dr. Areekul Puangsuwan, PhD, is a physical activity lecturer in the College of Sports Science and Technology, Mahidol University, Thailand. She is also an adjunct lecturer in the Schools of Human Sciences, majoring in Sports Science, Exercise, and Health University of Western Australia. Dr. Areekul has been a grant reviewer of Thai Health Promotions Foundations and the International Academy for Sport Research. Her research interests including physical activity in children and youth, health promotions policies, and advocacy. In 2019 until 2021, she conducted a large research project entitled Children's and Youth Physical Activity Studied. And this project is supported by her previous work as a co-principal investigator for a Thailand Physical Activity Children Survey in more than 17,000 children from 363 primary and secondary schools across 9 regions in the country. With her outstanding track record, both as researchers and lecturers, I would like to invite Dr. Areekul Puangsuwan to present her materials. To Dr. Areekul Puangsuwan, the screen and times are yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Martina. Thank you for such a nice introductions and also brief introduction to physical activity. I'm glad to see you at least virtually via Zoom platform today. And as I know, this is like a part of your summer school program, right? So most of the participants are university student, undergrad student, right? Am I wrong?
Yes, most of us are undergraduate students.
Okay, all right. Let me find my slide. Just a second. Okay, an official hello from me to everyone. I'd like to, before I start, I'd like to thank Professor Trias, the Vice Dean of your faculty, for inviting me to speak in this session. It's my pleasure to share with you my knowledge and experience about physical activities and health promotion in ASEAN country. And I would also like to thank Dicky. I see Dicky is here too, right? For coordinating with me and helping me getting into this session smoothly. Since Martina has, already given you, brief introductions of me, so I probably have to skip this slide. And I think you probably can join with me, just a few seconds. So then I know you. I know my audience. Can you grab your phone and scan this QR code? So I see who you are because you know me already. I'll leave this slide for a second, and then I'll swap the screen to the Google Form. I guess that a few staff as well, right? Will join this session.
Maybe yes, doctors. Some of our staffs join today's sessions.
Yeah. It will take you just only a few seconds, I believe, because the questionnaire is very short. Okay, I guess everyone get the QR code already, so I'll swap my screen to another screen. Oh, okay. Responses are coming in, but it's only a few people have done that anyway. Right. So about, male and females are about. Okay. Also, I also asked you if you know or familiar with the word physical activity. Yeah. And it's glad to know that all of you are quite familiar with this word. But let's see if you understand it correctly. Yes, you need to. Okay. All right. There's a few questions that I want to know about your physical activity level. And okay. Right. Some of you participate in physical activity quite regularly. Okay, that's great to know. Okay, I'll swap back to my presentation, sorry. Now you see my slide, right? Okay. Right, so my presentation today will start with brief introductions about what physical activity is and how it is different from sport or exercise and fitness. And then I'll talk about physical activity levels in global population and also ASEAN university student, followed by physical activity promotion in Asian, ASEAN country, and in ASEAN University Network and Health Promotion Network. And then at the end of my presentation, I hope that we will have some time for our discussion. We have some questions as well. So now let's start with the introduction. We are all aware that we are living in a rapidly changing world where technology play an influential roles in our life, right? And everything in your life can be done very easily with your fingertips. We work a lot faster. We use more motorized transport, which is very convenient. And but sometimes benefits often come with something that we have to trade off, right? And this image speak to you quite a lot, and probably much better than my speech. On your left-hand side, maybe you feel familiar, especially in my generation. Maybe a lot of you haven't seen this kind of television before, because these days you have very thin screen or very flat screen TV. But from this image, you can imagine what happened to us, right? The TV screen is getting flatter and flatter, but our people, getting fatter and fatter. So these images lead us, to what I want to talk about, or present to you today. So I like to give you a little bit of, information, so everyone have, the same page or the same background of physical activity. Physical activity is defined as any bodily movement produced by skeletal muscles that require energy expenditure. Physical activity discipline emerged from a combination of epidemiology and kinesiology. It is quite a relatively new discipline for Asia and ASEAN, I believe. Still, I think my statement is still true at this day. And this term came into Thailand about 2010 after a big international conference organized by the International Society of Physical Activities and Health, in Toronto. At that year, a big conference, and I still recall it, remember it vividly, that when we came back to Thailand, we had a big discussion, and physical activity became quite a controversial issue, because we discussed how we can translate it into Thai language, and how we can promote or build up or generate knowledge around this new discipline. So during that time, I was quite excited to learn about new terms for physical activity. But many people may question, and then how physical activity is different from fitness, sport, and exercise. Physical fitness is the abilities of our body system to work together efficiently to allow you to perform your daily living and allow you to be healthy. Being efficient means doing daily activity with the least effort possible. Oh, hold on. I forgot to, plug in the power line, and the battery is running down. Sorry, everyone. Just a second. All right. Okay. This is a very classic problem. Okay, where am I? Okay, I talk about the difference between the technical terms, right? Physical activity and physical fitness. And what's the difference between physical activity and exercise? Exercise is something that is planned, structures, and is a repetitive activities. And it has a specific purpose. For example, you work out for 3 months, 6 months, trying to lose your weight. or trying to build up, sorry, is somebody trying to say something?
I think it's an accidental.
Okay, that's all. So everyone, while I'm talking, if you have any question, you can, yell out. You can say, hey, I don't understand, or I can't catch up with you. You can ask any question during while I'm talking, okay? And but for sport is all form of usually competitive physical activity. It's required rules. It's required, organized participation, and it's often required coach or strategies, because you need to, mostly you need to win, right? When you try to compete in the sport. But it can also be done in your leisure time and for entertainment as well. So I think you're quite familiar with exercise and sport. Okay, so physical activity is quite a broad term, cover, almost, daily living activity. And it can be categorized in 3 or 4 groups. It depends on, what textbook or what organization that you are looking into, because some textbook may say that, okay, physical activity can be categorized into 3 groups or 3 domains. But in this case, I categorize it into four domains. The first one is work-related or occupational physical activities. For example, farmers or tricycle peddler. And the second domain is household activity, like doing gardening or watering, your plants, something like that. And the third group is transportation activity, meaning like when you bike or walk from or run from place to place. And the last group is the group that you're most familiar with. It's the leisure time activity. It includes recreational activity like hiking, dancing, sport, and exercise. So you can see that it's covered a wide range of activities in your daily life. Now I'd like to move on to why physical activity is important. When you participate in physical activity regularly, it doesn't bring only physical benefits, but also mental and social health benefits. In children, extra benefits include improvement in cognitive learning or cognitive function. It helps children focus more on their study. In adults and older adult populations, it helps reduce risk of many non-communicable diseases or NCDs, especially colons and breast cancers. It's improved bone health, helps reduce falls, particularly among the elderly, etc. And physical activities also, physical activity actually has a lot of benefit, but a lot of people are still, highly sedentary. The WHO addressed physical inactivity as one of the key modifiable risk factors of NCD. This is a very big public health, issue. Prior to the pandemic or the emergence of the COVID-19, the world was fighting with NCD. It is the biggest global public health issue, as I say. It was raised in the UN General Assembly in New York in 2011, and this is the first time in the history that the UN General Assembly raised health issues in their meetings, because you often hear, in the UN General Assembly, they often talk about, social issues, economic, or, uh, um, the political issues, something like that. But in that year, in 2011, NCD was the health issues that was raised and discussed in the meetings, and um, at the end of the meeting, they adopt a resolution to manage to address the severities of NCDs. And why the NCD is very important? Because NCD kill 41 million, people each year, equivalent to 71 of all deaths globally, and 70% of all NCD deaths occur in low and middle income countries like Thailand, Indonesia, right? And cardiovascular diseases account for most NCD deaths, or almost 18 million people annually, followed by cancers, respiratory diseases, and diabetes. So this is why, NCD is a big issue, and why physical activity is very important, because it was addressed as the key modifiable risk factors of NCDs. And when we take a closer look at physical inactivity, when I say physical inactivity, it means that people do not meet the WHO physical activity guidelines of having 150 up to 300 moderate to vigorous physical activity, or 75 up to 150 minutes of vigorous physical activity per week. And when people do not have sufficient physical activity, there are, of course, negative consequences. The WHO report that 3.2 million deaths each year are attributable to insufficient physical activity. People who are insufficiently active have 20 up to 30% increased risk of all-cause mortality. And it was also responsible for more than 13 million of DALI, or disability life adjusted life year, or in simple words, the years that you live in good health and well-being. And there are also, other negative consequences when you are, insufficiently active. And as I say, following the attempts of the UN General Assembly, the health agency, WHO, UN, and others, concerned party, they discuss and they, set up a 9 voluntary NCD targets and encourage the member state, to trying to achieve this target. In the first version, they aim to achieve the target by the year 2025, but in the later version, they changed the year to 2030. So as you can see, it addressed other issues, health issues as well, like tobacco and alcohol and diet, and physical activity is part of it. Aims to achieve, a relative reduction of physical inactivity here, by 15% by, the year 2030. And following that action, the WHO also launched a global action plan on physical activity with 4 key strategies, which are active societies, active environment, active people, and active system. And this is also another effort, because the WHO has global recommendation on physical activity, but it's been used since year 2010, which is pretty old. So the WHO, arrange a meeting, and invite all international experts to discuss and revise its physical activity guideline, and it launched this guideline just recently. If I'm not wrong, it was in year 2020, and this is the new guideline. The new guidelines not only provide recommendation on physical activity for healthy people, but in this new version, it's also provide recommendation for people with chronic disease and also people with special consideration or special condition, like pregnant women or the people with disability. And other countries also produce their own physical activity guidelines as well, especially developed or Western country. And on this slide, you see the key milestone. There are a lot of development that is going on. Thailand also produce their own physical activity guidelines and also develop the National Physical Activity Promotion Plan as well. And it's quite similar with the WHO guidelines and the WHO Global Action Plan, because we use quite a lot of literatures from the international research community. And now let's look at the global situation about physical activity and physical activity levels in university students in ASEAN country. And in this slide, you see clearly when we look at the prevalence of insufficient physical activity, it's almost 28%. And in East and Southeast Asia, sorry, we don't have, I tried to dig into the literature, but I don't find any, document that did the study in, ASEAN country. But this is the base information that I have, In East and Southeast Asia, the prevalence of insufficient physical activity is about 17%, But when you look at the global trend for physical activity, in physical inactivity among males and female, it's not looking good. It seems like it's going down slightly. And what about the physical activity in children? At the international level, this is quite an alarming information. As you can see, only in ASEAN, okay, let's say only 20% of the our children that have sufficient physical activity, and the figure is quite similar with the global prevalent estimate. And what about in Indonesia? I found at least some information. The prevalence of insufficient physical activity in Indonesian adolescents is very high, as you can see from this table. 87%, very high. But in adults, age 18 years old or more, it looks like we don't have the figure for both genders, but the prevalent estimate for male and female on your right hand side here, can give some idea that actually, Indonesia also have a lot of work to do as well to promote physical activity. But I'm pretty glad to see that Indonesia, Thailand, we have specific policies and guidelines to promote physical activities, and all countries in South and East Asia have the public awareness campaign to promote physical activity and healthy lifestyle. Now let's look at physical activity promotion. Look at what have been doing in this region, and what networks or the attempts trying to promote physical activity in the region. In fact, I'd like to emphasize that physical activity has many advantages in promoting health at the population level, because you can notice from its broad definition, physical activity can be integrated quite easily in your life, because a lot of people might not love to play sport, right? Like myself, although I'm a lecturer at sports science, I don't quite good at sports, and I don't like to go to exercise regularly. So I think a lot of people similar to me, so physical activity has advantages in promoting health among a large group of population, because it doesn't require any skills, it doesn't require equipment. If you want to play golf, tennis, or badminton, you need to have equipment, right? You need a golf club, you need badminton rackets, you need to go to the golf field, blah blah blah. If you don't have equipment, you can't play it, right? And physical activity has no structure. It can be done at any time. It can be done alone, in your daily life. So at the global level, of course, the WHO is the key organization that is trying to advocate for physical activity among the general public. And for children, there's a network called Healthy Active Kids Global Alliance that is working on this issue. And but mainly it work based on international collaborative research for Kids Report Card. Perhaps some of you hear about this initiative, because it has been promoted or operating for a number of years. In Asia or ASEAN, to the best of my knowledge, it's not clear about the efforts to promote physical activity specifically. However, there are 2 or 3 networks that I have come across. For example, the International Network of Health Promotion Foundation, the ASEAN University Network Health Promotion Network, and ASEAN Council for Health and Physical Activity and Fitness. So I'd like to give you a bit of information of this network, and perhaps you can Google to find more information from their website. Most of these organizations, Weak Health, Healthway, iHealth, MyHealth, Health Promotion Board in Singapore, plus other organizations in Tonga, in Korea. There's a member of this International Network Health Promotion Foundation, and it works, covers health promotion at the population level. And physical activity is part of their promotion efforts. But the key strengths of these organizations is that it's considered themselves as a catalyst and work through their network partner. So physical activity can be promoted in a more sustainable manner with relatively adequate funding. This is another network, and this is probably more close to you, because it's been promoted in the university, including University of Areekul as well, because University of Areekul is part or is a member university of this network. The AUN Health Promotion Network has been established. It was established in 2014, if I'm not wrong, and to to promote health promotion. So basically, AUN has many thematic network, and health promotion is another network that established recently, 2014. So it works to accelerate health promotion campaigns and collaborative research for community well-being. During the first few years of its establishment, this network developed a black book called Healthy University Framework. And you can see in this slide that physical activity has been given an importance as one of the thematic areas for health promotion in university. And I have an opportunity to work with Dr. Trias, Dr. Ira, from University of Atlanta on one project, one research project. Because at that time, back about 2 years ago, AUN HPN has no baseline data about health behavior of university students. So we initiate a collaborative research project, and we collect quite rich data on health behavior, including physical activity from students, from many member universities. And Alanka is part of this study. So this is the results from the study. You can see the physical activity levels of uni student in each country. You can see like Indonesia, only 45% of the student met physical activity guidelines here. And on average, about 60% are meeting physical activity guidelines. But these data were collected during COVID-19 pandemic. I believe, the figure might be a little bit better after the COVID-19. So if we have a chance to do the research again, then we will, have, a new figure, and then we can compare what happened if, the situation about physical activity is, improving. And these infographic give you some ideas about health behavior among university students. I won't go into detail. Perhaps when you have, I believe all of you have my slide, right? Because I sent my slide to Vicky. So when you have time, you can have a look at this information. And this is the third network that I talked about previously. This network called ASEAN Council for Health, Physical Activity and Fitness. But I don't see concrete activity from this network. Perhaps we have the COVID-19 pandemic, so the many activity been pending. And I just want to give you some example of the effort in trying to promote physical activity in Thailand. In Thailand, physical activity has been taken seriously by Thai Health Promotion Foundation. It's been promoted these issues for quite a long time, since 2010. We trying to encourage more the generation of knowledge, body of knowledge, because we still need more information on knowledge on physical activity. And Thai Health initiate quite a lot of activity, like come out and play, this project. And this one is active play, active school. We also participated in Global Kids Report Card, but that project was more on research activity. Sorry. ติดประชุมค่ะเดี๋ยวโทรกลับ And this is another effort that Thai Health has been doing, and it's corroborated with the government. They try to, use, empty space under the expressway and transform, from the empty space, useless space, to be something that community can be used, and it's, promote physical activity. Something that you can see, this become a new space, become a sport ground for children. So people around this area can come up and play and use this area. And it is quite fortunate that in Thailand, in the past few years, but this is, of course, before the COVID-19, we organized quite many activities that create atmosphere that support physical activity for the general public. And you can see from this photo, this is, our Prime Minister. Thai Health, invited him to join in some events. And at that time, it was quite successful. This is many years ago, but I just want to give you some idea that physical activity require, quite, a lot of effort from not only Ministry of Public Health, but it's beyond, beyond Ministry of Public Health, and it needs policy and leadership support. And this is another campaign that is quite popular. We call it National Step Challenge. It's quite similar from the Singapore National Steps Challenge. It's organized by Ministry of Public Health. It encourages people to join the competition. Encourage people to collect their steps and compete to win like vouchers for shopping or some rewards from the government. And it has quite a lot of, it's received quite a lot of interest from people, 800,000 people joining this project. And not only the informational approach that we use to promote physical activity, we also use mass media campaign. I'm not sure if it's going to work. I'll try. If you don't hear a sound, please let me know.
I'm sorry, doctors, we cannot hear the sound.
You cannot hear the sound? Okay.
Yeah.
Let me stop and then I'll share it again. Screen. Yeah, sound. Beginning, sorry.
คุณทรงเกียรติรับยาค่ะ คุณทรงเกียรติใช่ไหมคะ ครับ ทำนี้ทุกวัน2 เวลาเช้าเย็นนะคะ เชิญค่ะ
ครับ การออกกำลังกายเป็นยาที่ดีที่สุดแล้วครับ
อยู่เข้าใจไหมว่าไออ่ะอยากได้สีแดงแบบธรรมชาติเล็กเชอร์รี่อ่ะอยู่เข้าใจไหมสีแดง
ครับ การออกกำลังกายทำให้ผิวพรรณเปล่งปลั่งแดงเป็นธรรมชาติครับ ำลังกายทำให้จิตใจสดชื่นครับ
Okay. All right. At least it will give you idea. All right. That's were just some examples of our efforts. It's pretty funny when I first look at these media campaign. Anyway, I pick up some example from Malaysia. The Ministry of Public Health of Malaysia has, initiate some campaign as well. It has the national campaign for cycling and the 10,000 step, in 2009. Physical activity has also been a component of program at school called Young Doctor, university, in healthy university student and community, and also in the workplace. Each setting has a specific name for that campaign, and they also establish a community health promotion center, throughout the country, which provide weekly exercise session and exercise consultation to the public. So these are some examples, and perhaps some of you can share with me, what are the effort in trying to promote physical activity in Indonesia. All right, I come to the last part of my presentation. Physical activity play a significant role in helping each country to achieve sustainable development goals. Of course, it helps directly to address goal number 3, which is good health. But if you look at it seriously, you will notice that physical activity isn't only address good health. It also contributes indirectly to others SDG or other goals as well. For example, climate action, gender equity, quality education, so on and so forth, like I showed in this slide. And I like to conclude my presentation with this slide, and I like to borrow WHO Director General speech. Failure to recognize and invest in physical activity as a priority within NCD prevention and treatment represents a missed opportunity. And every dollar you invest in physical activity promotion, you have a return, of 2.8 dollar. So this is the end of my presentation. Now I'd like to, these are all the resources that you can access from Google. Okay, now I'd like to hand over back to Martina as a moderator.
Okay. Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Areekul, for the amazing presentations as well as the very funny video previously. Okay, probably I will return it back to the participants. Probably some of you have questions for Dr. Areekul, but while waiting for our participants' questions, we have our Q&A sessions until 5 minutes. So we have 10 minutes for question and answer sessions. So maybe while waiting for the participants' questions, I would like to ask Dr. Areekul several questions that I've arranged. So you've previously mentioned related to the reductions of the premature mortality related to the physical activity in the individuals. So is the reductions of premature mortality is also related to how physical activity can actually trigger the secretions of melatonin so that people can have better sleep quality? Do you have any reference related to the associations between physical activity and the sleep quality among people?
Oh, yes. My research is not around sleep quality and physical activity, but as far as I see in the literature, physical activity supports helps people sleep better. They can have better or quality sleep. So it helps in this area as well.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Areekul. So I want to know further about the work cultures in Thailand. So on what time usually people in Thailand start to work, and on what time they usually end their works in their office?
What? Sorry, did you ask about the time that people usually start working?
Yeah. And the time when they finish.
Oh, mostly they start working, if they are the government officials, they mostly start working at 8 or 8:30 and finish working at 4:30. But for the private sector, they probably start, these days at 9 o'clock and finish at 5, because we, as you may know, we have a big problem about, traffic jam.
Yeah. And related to your informations that they start work at 8 a.m. and they return back to home at maybe 4 p.m. So is there any policies that applied by the government of by Thailand governments related to physical activity that probably can be done or executed during their works?
Oh, I have observed quite a lot of efforts, particularly in research area. For example, there's one PhD student is trying to, initiate, an intervention at workplace. She tried to reduce sedentary behavior or sitting time. So she, in her research, she moved the rubbish bin from, in the office. Mostly people, at work, in the office, they put the rubbish bin their table, right? And also the photocopier very close to them. So she works with the school, because she conducted her research at one school, I don't remember. So he asked the permission from the school to move the photocopier outside, the office, so people can have a chance to, stand up and walk, to throw away their rubbish in a rubbish bin outside the office, somewhere they, put it somewhere outside and go to, do the photocopier outside as well. So at least there's some intervention that, trying to, encourage people or try to break down sitting time of the people, something like that. This is
it was a very interesting actions. Actually, it was a very interesting intervention, since maybe because we worked in an office and it's hard for us to maybe allocate our time to have a physical activity. It is such a very solutive solution for those of them who works in an office and in a very tight schedule. Okay.
There is also another example, and this is why, this has become a normal practice in the international conference, concerning health and physical activities. When we organize all the, meetings, we usually have, activity break. Normally, when you have a break, during the meeting, you let people go, grab some tea or coffee, eat, all the snack. But these days, it has become a trend that when we have a break, we propose an activity break. So people can have like 3 minutes or 5 minutes of, activity, exercise activities, and we provide, fruit or healthy break. And this is another attempt, which can be done easily.
Yeah. It's I think a very simple actions can make a big impact. As you said previously, we used to have a coffee break during our meeting, but nowadays after COVID especially, people tend to put more attentions on the physical activity. And then in an offline seminars, usually they put some stretching sessions between the sessions of the webinar. So it is a very simple solutions, and as well as a policy probably for those of them who works office, and spend most of their time sitting and working in front of the computers and so on. So Dr. Areekul, we've gained one questions from our participants. This is from Tasha from Universitas Airlangga. She asked, what is the most important sectors should we pay attention to provide a prudent policy related to the supporting facilities for physical activities? Is it okay to educate children related to physical activity, or will they be resistant to physical activity if we, expose them to physical activity in an early period of life?
Wow. Thanks for the questions. There are 3 questions actually in that post. Which are quite interesting. Okay, the first question is, what are the most important sectors would we pay attention to provide a prudent policy? Actually, I think when people think about physical activity, of course we think about Ministry of Public Health. But as I mentioned, quickly in my presentation, it has to be promoted beyond Ministry of Public Health. It needs multiple collaboration from many sectors. For example, about 2 or 3 years ago, Thailand tried to set up a national committee to promote physical activity. We invite all concerned parties. For example, the transport section, Ministry of Transport, Ministry of Tourism and Sport. What else? Education. Every sector, because physical activity is also concerned with, for example, urban planning. You might need collaboration from Ministry of Interior Affairs. Trying to, design, make a universal design that is conducive to physical activity. So I think policies can be done at any sector, whether it is private or public, or Ministry of Health, or beyond Ministry of Public Health. I hope I addressed your question. And what is the second question? It is okay to educate children. Oh, yes, definitely. Physical activity is very important to be promoted. When you promoted physical activity among children, I believe it's like, you put in, a memory chip, in a brain. Because physical activity is likely to remain with children when they grow up to be, an adult. If they, are physically active when they are young, when they are child, during their childhood, when they grow up, they are likely to be more physically active than those who are not active when they are young. So the literature shows this quite clearly. And we need, support from families, from parents, or guardians, support from peers, and from schools as well, and also community. Yes, every concerned party need to help the children. And one thing that I like to address is the physical literacy that we need to that needs to be promoted among children as well. So, children have more confidence in their, movement, and it's the foundation for them when they grow. So the last question, will they be resistant? Oh no, I don't think so. Kids love playing. When I say physical activity in children, active play. Active play means free play, unorganized, unstructured, and self-directed play. So, all kids love it. So I don't see any problem in promoting physical activity among kids. From my experience, those who have problems are parents and teachers, because they are very concerned with children's academic performance. Rather than letting their kid to play, they often complain and ask the children to come and read a book, something like that.
Yeah, it's a typical cultural things in Indonesia as well. In Asian countries, actually. Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Areekul, for the answers. We've been in the 3 past 8 minutes, so we've already passed our Q&A sessions. Thank you very much for your answers. And probably I will read a summary related to our today's materials. So physical activity is defined as a bodily movement produced by the skeletal muscles that requires energy expenditures. So the physical activity and their differences from the exercise is a planned, structured, and repetitive activities that propose to improving or maintaining the physical fitness, while sports are forms of usually competitive physical activity which require physical strength and skill through casual or organized participations. It usually has a set of rules, and it often requires a coach or strategies, and it can be done in a leisure time for entertainment for participants. There's several benefits from physical activity, which is physical, mental, and social health benefit, the increasing of academic performance, reductions of risk of premature mortality, and it's as a strategy for at least 25 chronic medical conditions, and also as an STDs preventions. The urgencies of physical inactivity in this world is because 3.2 million deaths each year is attributed to the insufficiency of physical activity, and physical inactivity is responsible for 13.4 million deaths worldwide. And the goal of the WHO is 10% reductions of physical inactivity in 2025 and 15% in 2030, since it affects various sectors other than health sectors. And the PA, or physical inactivity in international level, shows that the prevalence of insufficient physical activity in children is raised to 87.1% in average, and in adult is 21.3%, and in male is 21.6%. So it is important to increase the awareness and concerns in physical activity, since Dr. Areekul has said to us, physical activity is an investment. We can get return from our investations in physical activity. So thank you very much, Dr. Areekul. Maybe I would love to invite you to receive a little gift from us. Maybe the committee can show the certificates for Dr. Areekul. Okay, so this is a little gift from us, Dr. Areekul. Maybe we will take a pictures together. I will count from 1 to 3. Okay. 1, 2, 3, cheese. Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Areekul, and I would like to ask for help from all of our participants to stay in the Zoom room and do the attendance form too. So while filling the link, I would like to thank Dr. Areekul for the amazing materials this afternoon. Thank you to all of the participants as well as our lecturers. Maybe all of our staff as well that has tuned in our today's sessions. I would like to apologize if I have made any mistakes, and I'm so sorry for any limitations that this event has.
You are doing job. You are doing
Thank you very much, Dr. Areekul. I really hope we have gained more knowledge and more relations for today's sessions. So without any further ado, I'll announce that today's sessions entitled The Physical Activity by Dr. Areekul has finished. Thank you very much for the participants, and don't forget to fill the attendance link.
Thank you. Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you, Dr. Areekul.